Wondering what life is really like on Canada's wild and crazy West Coast? This podcast is all about the people, the places, and Vancouver Island time. Together, we'll explore this island paradise, a combination of ocean, city, and country living. We'll meet the fabulous locals such as the Fudge Fairy and the Chicken Lady, who have chosen Victoria and Vancouver Island as their home. And we'll learn what makes this place unique and special to those who live here. And now, your host of Vancouver Island Time, Jane Johnston.
Hi, everybody. It's Jane Johnston from the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun and host of Vancouver Island Time. I'm here with Cathy Larsen with Departures Travel in Sidney, and we're going to be focusing on the Brentwood Bay area. So how long have you lived here?
We've lived here for about 30 years now. Moved when the kids were little and love the area. My dad has lived here a long time, and we just enjoyed visiting the area. We love the community, the sports, the outdoor areas, and I don't think we'll move.
So when you moved here, was this a young neighborhood with young kids?
Yeah, it's interesting because the street that we live on, there's a few people that have been here since we first moved here, and now we've seen the kids, grow from growing up all together as young kids. Now they're young adults with their own kids, and now younger families are moving in. We have a little park down at the end of the street. The beach is near. Lots of outdoor activities for everybody. So it's an ever evolving area. So it's really great.
So we're near a famous landmark, and that is the gardens around the corner. So tell us a bit about those. And so I imagine you must hear fireworks in the summer and stuff like that.
Yeah. The fireworks are great. Except now that we have a little dog, we do have to keep her reined in because it's very loud. We can hear it and see it from our balcony. They're great neighbors. They know the distractions that they may cause, and they send us, free, come on down and come and see the gardens. So it's a 5-minute walk from where we are. We can go down. We usually, our tradition is to go down on Christmas Eve and go and see the gardens all lit up in the evening and wander around. And yeah, it's a great tradition. Beautiful music in the summer times. And just beyond that is Todd Inlet. So yeah, it's lovely.
We're talking about Bouchard Gardens, by the way.
Sorry. I thought everybody knew what Bouchard Gardens was. Yeah.
It's kind of an international, like when people come here to Victoria, there are buses that come from downtown Victoria to Bouchard Gardens just to see it. So what's nice is that it's thematic. So you can go in the winter and they have a skating rink there and the lights and then in the summer. And actually we did a draw for Bouchard Gardens with the Briar Hill Group last Christmas, and we ended up getting thousands of people wanting just 2 free tickets to go and see the lights. Like, that's how popular it is. So she lives in a great area. So what else is there to see and do here?
We have Todd Inlet, which is just beyond Butchart Gardens, and it's a beautiful little inlet that over probably the past 10 years, they've really taken an interest into it, and they've built a little beach there now, so you can go down with little kids, and it's a nice calm water area. So you can go in the wintertime. Actually, it does freeze over a little bit, and then into Brentwood Bay, which is a really deep bay. So if you're into prawns, they have spot prawns that come out about this time, every year, and great for kayaking, any type of water sports that you want to do.
And you could take the ferry over to...
Oh yeah, the ferry is beautiful. If I tell people, it's a secret, so I don't really tell too many people about it. So it's a great little shortcut to go over to Mill Bay. Just walk on or take your car on. It only takes about 20 cars. So yeah, and if you miss it, then you just go up to the pub and you wait for the next one. So
that's why we call it Island Time.
Exactly. And
it's cash only.
It is cash only, and there are a few other tricks. You can go to Thrifty's and you can get a half price prepaid.
Really? I didn't know that.
There you go. Thrifty's in Mill Bay and the Thrifty's in Central Saanich. You can go and get Prepaid, I think it's about half price. Yeah. So you just pre-buy them. I keep them in my car and away I go.
So sometimes when you're going up island, so in Ontario, where I'm from, we would call it going up north. Here we call it going up island. But you have to go through Langford and go around and up over the Malahat. And what this little ferry does is it allows you to just circumvent that. It's maybe a 20-minute ride. And I actually never took it before a couple of weeks ago because I would just drive. It's about the same time from beginning to end, and it's totally beautiful. So we'll show you some video footage of that trip. What about in Brentwood itself? So right around the ferry, there's a couple of neat little restaurants, and there's a spa hotel.
Yeah, there's the Brentwood Lodge and Spa. So that my son has worked there for a long time in the marina and at the desk. And there's the Blues Bayou. There's Seahorse Cafe. There's lots of great little gem restaurants around the area. So which we frequent quite a bit. You know, it's tough not to go into Victoria.
Do they have any live music over there?
Yes, they do. On special occasions, they have live music. Same with Butchart Gardens in the summer times. They'll have some great, they'll have like Colin James in the summertime. So lots of local bands that they'll have playing. We have music in the park up at the library. There's a large park there, and they're building a band shell now. And so in Wednesday evenings in the summertime, they'll have music in the park, which is great. Everyone just comes up with your blankets and your chairs, and it's a really great community.
So everybody who's moving from far away, I did a little questionnaire of what people want to know. So where do you go to buy your food here? And what about specialty foods like butcher, baker, cabinet maker?
I would say the number one is the Red Barn and the Red Barn bacon. It is a must. When my son went away to college, I had to have Red Barn bacon when he came back. So definitely there for fruits and vegetables. And there's so many farms in the area that you can go around to the different bread stands and fruit stands. Lots of fresh corn. Grocery stores, of course, there's a larger Thrifty Foods, which is a 5-minute drive, or smaller Fairway Market, which is really close to us.
Fairway Market is locally owned too, which is nice.
Yes, it is. And liquor stores are really close.
All the essentials of life.
Exactly. Yeah.
And what about in terms of just like walking around paths? I'm thinking for kids and stuff like that. Are there bike trails, horse trails? We're sort of on the edge of a very horsey area.
The odd time you'll see horses go by, but the more of the horse area is just like a block down from us. If you're a horsey person, there's lots of horse farms, tons of bike trails, lots of bike clubs come out in the area just to ride around. We have the annual Ironman that uses the peninsula in the area for the biking. Lots of hiking areas if you want little hikes or big hikes.
Just south off of Todd Inlet, right?
Yeah, Todd Inlet. There's a lake up there that the kids love to go to. I did when I was a kid too, and to go up there in the summertime, and it's fabulous. Yeah.
It's very rare to meet people who actually grew up on the island.
Yeah, I was born and raised, grew up in Cadbro Bay, and when we had our kids, we moved into town, and then finally, when we were able to buy a house, we moved out to Brentwood.
And where did your kids go to school?
We chose this area specifically because we liked the area for the school. So they went to Brentwood Elementary. Bayside was a new middle school. Middle schools were sort of a new thing at that time. And then one went to Stellies. Another one went to high school in Sidney because he wanted to play football, and then ended up going.
Was that Parkland?
Parklands, yeah. He went to Parklands for the football program, and then ended up going to Mount Doug, which was where I graduated from for football. Yeah.
Do you find the schools have maintained their reputations? I know a lot of people who are looking to buy here want to know about that. And are there French immersion programs or anything like that?
There are. French immersion is up at a local elementary school.
It's off of Central Saanich Road.
That's right. Yeah, my kids didn't do French immersion, so I'm not too familiar with it. But then Bayside is French immersion, and then they would have, Stellies would be French immersion as well. So lots of very sporty, and Stellies has now a climbing wall there, so that's really popular, and it's great for the kids. My kids are big into hockey, so we're very close to the hockey rink, very close to the baseball field. So it was, they were never bored.
Stellies is kind of an anomaly because you're driving along Stellies Crossroad, and then all of a sudden you see a low-lying building with a big, it's like 40 or 50-foot tower, right? That's a climbing.
Yeah, the climbing wall. Yeah, it's one of the better facilities in Canada, really. Yeah.
And what about, so I'm from Metchosin. The highlight of Metchosin is the Metchosin Fair. What about the Saanich Fair?
The Saanich Fair. Oh my gosh, I don't even know how many years it's been going. I've gone as a kid, and my kids have gone since kids. So, and now that they've moved to where they are now, it's much bigger, and it's a lot of fun.
There's two aspects to it, right?
Right. There's the cultural aspect to it, the farming, your pigs and your all of your horses and chickens, thank you. And there's also live bands in the evening, and then there's the fair, the midway. Yeah.
So they have dahlia competitions, they have art competitions, they have baking, they have the draft horses, they have cows, they have the 4-H club people.
Yeah, an old-fashioned country fair. Yeah.
It's kind of fun to sit, to sit on the edge there.
Yeah, it is. It's really great. And for us, I mean, we do live out in the country per se, but we're really city folk, and to see it up close, and it is really fun.
Yeah, because those people do that for a living, right?
Exactly. They work hard.
Yeah. So what about like Central Saanich is kind of in between Sidney and downtown, so we're 15 minutes either way. I find a lot of people tend to forget it because, especially Brentwood. So I think prices here are more reasonable than other areas of the city. You are on fairly large lots here. Do you find like your friends, do they always go, oh, well, it's too far out to drive to where you are? Or like I get that. I'm like, well, it's the same distance from my house to yours as it is from yours to mine. But do you find that like people, you're kind of out of the way here? It's nice that way though.
It is. When we first moved out here, people thought, oh my gosh, why are you moving all the way out there? And I'm like, well, you don't have to pack a lunch. It's only a 15-20 minute drive. But we liked that about it because, I worked downtown for many, many years, and I left work and I often drove back into home through the back road. And it took just as long, and it was just so relaxing, and you could just feel the pressure just melt away. And but it's really not that far, and most of our friends now are out this way anyways. So
yeah, I find as you come from like along West Saanich Road, and of course stopping at the Red Barn Market to get your Red Barn bacon, which I'm going to have to do on my way home now.
And miso. Miso is just around the corner. So that is a fantastic Italian bakery and little restaurant. I'm giving away all the secrets. I'm going to have to stand in line now. Yeah.
Well, I just want to thank you because you've given us a really great overview of what it's like to live here. Obviously, very family oriented and lots of services and things to do, great places to eat. And obviously, Bouchard Gardens, there's also the butterfly gardens nearby as well. So if you're interested in knowing more about the Brentwood Bay area, please contact me. I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun, and this is our guest,
Cathy Larsen at Departures Travel.
Yep. So we'll be back. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Vancouver Island Time is brought to you by the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun, Victoria, where we bring local expertise and global presence to your property.
All right, so I am here with Cathy Larsen. She is with Departures Travel in Sidney, and we're going to be talking about how Departures is different than other travel agencies and why you really got to know Cathy. So tell me, how did you get into the travel industry?
My father was in with BC Ferries for 40 plus years, and it was just sort of in the blood. And I went into the hotel industry for about 30 years, and I'd always wanted to be a travel agent. I love to travel, and I kind of got my foot in the door doing it with another agency, and loved what I did. But I saw that there was a different avenue that I wanted to do, and I wanted to have my own business. So that's when I met up with Cathy and
Cathy Scott, Cathy
squared now. Yeah. And we opened up Departures Travel in Sidney.
So in real estate, a lot of people say, well, I want to get into real estate because I love homes, but really it's about managing people. Do you find it's about managing people and travel, like they want to be taken care of, right?
Absolutely. It's really a relationship. So it's the same with selling homes. You really have to have a relationship with your client, get to know them, get to know what they'll love to do in their off time, what they love to do for travel time. And, it's people work very hard for their money, and travel is something that a lot of people wait a long time to do, save for. Some people, they do it constantly, but either way, it's an investment. So we take it very seriously and really get to know the people and make their trip great from start to finish.
Yeah, I always consider travel to be, it's something that you take with you your whole life, and when I go, I guess I always look for a piece of art or something to bring back with me. I don't try and buy the little tchotchkes. But who is your ideal client in your business? Because, you have people who are kind of discount travel. I don't perceive you guys to be that. You're a long established company. So who's your ideal client?
I would say travelers rather than tourists, people that are not looking just to cross off a bunch of countries off of their list, people that are looking for a high touch, really immersive travel. They're wanting to know the culture and the food of the area, getting to know the people, a sense of adventure, fun. And it doesn't matter the age. I mean, people say, well, what age do you do? Well, I've met 80-year-olds that have more energy than I'll ever have, and a fun spirit and wanting to go. And they will, when I see somebody that's 95 that's gone and gotten their 10-year passport renewed, I'm like, yes, that's my best client. Yeah, love that.
I think my grandmother started traveling when she was 72 after my grandfather passed away. Like, she really discovered herself. Do you find, like, are you looking, so when you do a tour, so let's say I'm 72 and I want to do a tour and I want to go to Europe. So how would we arrange that? What would be the conversation?
At first, find out what they like to do in their spare time, what their interests are. Are they into art? Are they into music? Do they want to be, are they more adventuresome? Would they want to do a group tour? Would they want to do a small group tour, large group tour? Would they want to go on their own? If they can go, there's many, many different options that we can look at. We've got ground handlers right in the area. So if somebody wants to be a little bit more independent, we can send them off and they can meet up with a local host, and they can have that really local flavor to their tour. Or if they want, they can go on an organized bus tour, and if they just want to, have their brain turned off and just enjoy the moment, then they can do that too.
Do you find, so what's the average amount of money people spend? I know this is probably a general question, but like, is $10,000 unreasonable?
No, not at all. $10,000 is probably about your average. I've had people spend far more than that. I've got some clients next month leaving for an 89-day cruise, so it's on their list. It's got lots of different ports. They've got everything included, and they're just worried about what to pack. So everything we do, everything, but mostly a high touch, really
high end,
and really. And high end, I don't think, to me personally, doesn't need to be expensive. It just means that it's going to be an experience that they're really going to remember.
So one of the things Departure Travels does is educational tours. Tell me a bit about those. I think they're really interesting.
Yeah. Right now, Cathy is off taking a women's tour to Italy. So they're going to be doing everything from learning to cook. They're going truffle hunting. They're going, of course, to the wineries. But then we've also got tours that are going down to the Antarctic. So you're going to learn a lot about those areas. We've got a lot of guest speakers that go on the tours. So if you're interested in volcanic action, or if you're interested in Patagonia or history, anything, we've got people that we would call upon.
And what I've noticed is you guys tend to find somebody who's kind of an icon in the community, like me, although I haven't been asked yet. No, I'm kidding. I was asked to do a kayaking tour, which I couldn't get couples out to. But you're looking at finding somebody who's, bringing around people in her or his circle of influence, right?
That's right. We've got Frances Littman. She's a local photographer that is going to be doing a tour up to Yellowknife, which Cathy and I just came back from, and just absolutely was amazed at what was in our own backyard. And people that have not been there have to go. Absolutely amazing. So she's going to be taking a group of women up there, and they're going to be experiencing what we did. So the Northern Lights, they're going to be doing dog sledding and snowmobiling, and
Not at this time of year.
No, not at this time of year.
You know what? I went to Yellowknife 2 years ago, and I knew in my head. Anyway, I'm going to sound silly here, but I knew in my head that it didn't really get dark. But I woke up at 3:00 in the morning to see if I could see the Northern Lights, and it was like as bright as it is now, but so tranquil. Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, it was absolutely stunning. I was just blown away by the people were so nice, and really, for being what it was, 40 below, everybody was all outside. They're very, very engaged with doing outdoor activities. You just put on that parka. It takes you about 20 minutes to get all geared up, and out you go, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah, we have a friend who's a musician up there, and it's a big music scene too.
Yeah. I was really surprised at how young the people were, and if I could have brought those young people down here to work in the industry, I would have in a heartbeat.
Yeah, because it's a government town, so there's a lot of diversity up there. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we digress. Yes. So, what other areas of the world are you sending people to?
Big this year is Iceland. Spain and Portugal are huge right now. South America. Just people are just anything and everything. People are just wanting to go to all these little places that you wouldn't necessarily hear of or want. People are really broadening their horizons.
And when people come back, what do you get testimonials? What are their comments about their experiences on the way home?
How do you mean?
Did I ever want to move?
Yeah.
Like, I've been to New Zealand and I loved it. Yeah. I didn't expect to. Yeah. Whereas I expected to love Australia, and it was nice, but New Zealand for me, and I realized it has a lot of the same aspects of Vancouver Island now after I moved here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of places that, obviously, same with myself. If I could move to the south of France or Italy, I would in a heartbeat for a few months. But I'd always want to come back and here. And I think that's probably everybody that travels, they love what they see. They're completely immersed in the area, but they come home and it's like, you know what, this is a really beautiful area to be from. So I think that really resonates with a lot of people.
So if you were to do a tour for Vancouver Island, what would be the highlights for you for someone visiting?
I would probably, and we did this, my dad set one up for us, and we went up to Telegraph Cove, which is stunning, up at the end of the island. Parksville is beautiful, up to Tofino.
Both have really nice beaches.
Beautiful beaches, and a little difficult to get to Tofino sometimes in the wintertime, but it's well worth the trip, and stunning.
For storm watching.
Absolutely. They've really turned it around. Who would think that you could sell storm watching?
So you can be at the Wickeninish Inn, which is right on the water, and watch the waves rolling in the winter.
And it's crazy. Yeah, the storms up there are on the west coast of the island are something to be seen.
Yeah, because from there you're actually directly across from Japan, right?
That's right.
Okay, and then what about Souk area? What about local things to see and do in the Souk area? Because there's Port Renfrew, which is physically south of Tofino, although you get to it a different way.
Mm-hmm. China Beach, Souk. There's Souk Harbor House, which is amazing little bed and breakfast hotel, fabulous restaurant, lots of places to go hiking and biking up there, or just beach combing.
Okay. So so you just recently teamed up with Cathy Scott from Departures Travel in Oak Bay. What drew you to the name? Because, you didn't have to. What you were saying that there was an approach to travel that you liked.
Yeah, I liked just that it was more connecting with the clientele and being able to really have some flexibility in offering the clients what they want. Departures Travel is the oldest travel agency and independently owned travel agency. There's not many of those left. And I wanted to be part of something that was locally owned, locally operated, and really believe in that.
And so, like, if you were to differentiate yourself on, obviously the length of service that you guys have been around, but what about, other aspects of your travel? What do you do that's above and beyond other travel agencies? You talk about being high touch, but how is it high touch?
I think knowing that a client can call at any time if they feel uncomfortable, if they have an issue. I've had calls from clients that have been stuck in an airport. Something has happened with their flight, and they know they have the comfort level to know that they can phone me. I had some clients that unfortunately were on their way to the Fort Lauderdale airport when they had an incident there a couple of years ago. So their first call was to me and just said, what do we do? And so it was just that connection of being able to help them, go back to the hotel. I'll look after things for you. We'll get you on the next flight. So, that it just took the stress away for them, and they just went back to the hotel and we just kept in constant contact.
So knowing that there's somebody at home who's in control.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And if someone were to give you guys a testimonial, what would they say? What have you heard?
What have I heard? Well, I've had, as I've moved and opened up this new agency, I've had clients come with me, and they just love the openness, I think, and the extra mile that we go to in making their vacation special. And that could be from I've got, when they come back from their 89-day cruise, I said, there's going to be a lot of photos. So I'll sit down with her and we'll go through the photos and I'll help her to put it into a book for her. So.
One last question. Do you guys do slideshows or anything about the destinations? Do you do information nights?
We do, and that's really, really important, I think. I started quite a few years ago a travel talk, and it's very similar to a book club, but a travel club. And we'll have information evenings where clients can come in, and if they've come back from a vacation that they want to share and others would want to hear about, they can come on in. We'll have suppliers that will come in. So we'll have many going on through the months. So.
I know that that's what motivated me to travel. I traveled a lot in my 20s and 30s and around the world, mostly to places that my parents had been to because I knew firsthand what their stories were and I just wanted to recreate it. So if you want to explore the world, you can talk to Cathy Larsen at Departures Travel, 250-999-9800. Thanks for watching Vancouver Island Time and welcome to the neighborhood.
Welcome to the neighborhood. We hope you have had some insight into West Coast living. If you know of someone or someplace that should be highlighted in our podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Please go to VancouverIslandTime.com and click on our Connect button. See you next week on Vancouver Island Time with Jane Johnston.
Do you feel like you're drowning in administrivia? Do you have a podcast you would like transcribed to repurpose as a blog or even a best-selling book? Rhonda's Virtual Office is the answer to the freedom you crave so you can get busy doing what you love. Let Rhonda's Virtual Office give you the relief you need. Visit rhondasvirtualoffice.com and get some peace of mind today. Rhonda's Virtual Office is the go-to transcription service for EWN Podcast Network.